Good morning. It's Thursday morning, Maundy Thursday. I hope you've enjoyed our time together each morning during this Holy Week as we reflect upon what each day means and what we can learn from the life of Jesus. And each day, today is Thursday. I'm recording here from our Stoddard family dinner table. It's a little bit messier than you may normally find it, but that's okay because we find ourselves in a unique time, and every space of our house right now is being utilized for home offices or storage or whatever. And our dining room table is lived at, and that's something I've always taken with pride that it's a place that we study together and eat together and play games together. There's apples to apples. There's a lot of stuff happens at this table, and and you're going to find out in just a minute why I'm reading and reflecting today from our table. But I wanted to read to you on this Maundy Thursday. Maundy Thursday is one of my favorite days of the church year. It's the day we remember the giving of the Lord's Supper and the giving of when Jesus washed the feet of his disciples. And it's been weird. I'm used to this day being a day where we gather together at church to take communion together. And we weren't able to do that this year, and that's okay. I wish it were not so, but it's going to be okay because the truth of God's love for us remains, even though we can't gather together right now. And we know that one day we're going to gather together, and it's going to be amazing. So I look forward to that. But today I want to read to you on this Maundy Thursday from John chapter 13. We're going to read 13 verses 31 through 35. That's where Jesus says this. He says, when he had gone out, Jesus said, he being Judas, by the way, and I hope you enjoyed Trey's reflections on Judas yesterday. I hope those were especially a blessing to you. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify himself. Jesus said, and the Son of Man has been glorified, and that God has been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself. Will glorify him at once. Little children, I am with you only a little while longer. You will look for me. As I said to the Jews, I say to you now, where I'm going, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you shall love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, that you have loved one another. The word Maundy comes from the Latin, which is basically the word commandment. Jesus says here in this passage, I leave you a new command, that you love one another. And so I think it's very significant that on this night, we see what Jesus did for us. It's interesting. Think about if you had one last moment with those you loved. If you could provide those you love with one last gift. One of my friends preached a very interesting revival series one year. We actually had a revival series where he invited preachers to come, and I called it Last Sermon. And he had preachers come, and if they could preach one last sermon, what would they preach? And that's always been significant, that if you had one last message you could give, one last command, one last statement, one last thing to give to those that you love, what would you do? If you knew you could only tell those you love one last thing, what would you tell them? And so today we see Jesus before he goes to the cross. He has this moment with his disciples. And what does he do? Well, first he washes their feet. We read that earlier in John chapter 13. He washes their feet, an act of humble service. Then he gives them this meal of Holy Communion. And he leaves with them this new command. They are to love one another. And he says, by this they will know that you are my disciples, that you have love for one another. Think about that. Of all the things that he could have given to us, of all the things he could have shared with us, of all the ways he could have blessed us, of all the things he could have done, this is what he chooses to do. He chooses to leave on this last night with the gift of showing us service, the gift of providing us with this meal of table, and the command to love one another. I just think that's so important. He didn't leave us with some arcane task to do. He didn't leave us with some great, huge, terrible mission to accomplish. But what did he do? He said this, I'm going to wash your feet. And as I wash your feet, you're to wash the feet of others. You're to serve them as I have served you. He says in verse 12, 13, he says, you call me teacher and Lord, and you are right. That's what I am. So if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash each other's feet. Jesus could have lord it over them. That's what most teachers did in that time. And by the way, that's what a lot of people do today. They lord over. But Jesus said, no, I am your Lord, and I am your teacher, and I am your master. What am I going to do? I'm going to serve you. And by this, they will know that you're mine and that you serve one another. Then he gives this meal of communion. They're at the table together, and they have communion together. And then he tells them, this is the last commandment I give to you, that you are to love one another as I have loved you. Service, a meal, and a command. We're to serve each other. We're to serve those in need. We are to understand the gift of table. One of the things that you see so often in that culture of Jesus' day and remains true in the culture of the Holy Land today is that when you share a meal with somebody, your family. And so I just think it's so significant that he invites us to table fellowship with him, that we are called to take communion. And it's been, I'm going to miss not doing communion tonight. It is one of the things that I love most about this is being able to do communion. Aaron's going to share with you tonight something from our Wesleyan tradition called Love Feast. And it's a very powerful reminder of the love that we have for each other. So I would invite you to join us tonight at St. Matthew's Online as she shares with us these things. And so that's going to be very powerful for us and a great experience for us together. To understand this beautiful Wesleyan notion of the love feast. But then he says you're to love each other. That's how you know my disciples, that you love one another. And I think right now, in this time we find ourselves, in a time full of fear and worry and doubt and division and discord and all the things that we find present in the world. At this time, Jesus says that they will know that you are mine, that they will know you're mine, and that you love one another. And that's what this world needs from us right now, is to see the love that we have for each other and see the love that we have for the world. That is the emblem and the sign of our faith right now. This love is not a emotion. The love that Jesus has for us is not just some sentimentality. It's not just some ooey gooey whatever. But it's a sacrificial love. It's an agape love. It's a love that says, I value you and I want what's best for you. And I'm going to do what I can do to serve you. So do we see the tie between these things? We see Jesus serving. What does Jesus serve? Because we see in the end, Jesus loves. Our love looks like service. Our love looks like care. Our love looks like devotion. Our love looks like the way that we show and serve each other and show and serve the world. So right now, you may be stuck with your family for a long period of time. And I'm sure most families say, oh, I love you, I love you. Yeah, we all say we love our family. But how do we really love our family? We serve each other. If you're able to go work, you may be working with coworkers right now, providing social distancing. What can you do to serve them? How can you serve those that are in the healthcare industry right now? How can you serve those that are laying down their lives for each other? How can you serve your neighbors? How can you serve those that you run into when you run out to go buy groceries? How can you serve each other? Because in this, they will know that we are his disciples. And I think the thing that Jesus wants us to know in this is that thing that I love to say, where Peter writes, always be ready to give a defense for the hope that you have. Our goal should be to love and to serve so radically, so boldly, so graciously. Folks say, what's wrong with you? Why do you act like that? Why do you love that? Why do you wash feet? Why do you care? Why do you give? Why do you show mercy? I do it because of Jesus. Because of Jesus. He loves you. And he gave himself for you so that you could be brought home to the Father. So that you can know the depth of the Father's love for you right now. You are his beloved. On this Maundy Thursday, he gave us this ideal of service. He gives us the table fellowship of the meal. And he gives us this new command to love. So today, friends, as you go about your day, may we do that. May we serve all that we encounter. Whether the people we encounter today are the same folks we've been encountering every day for the last few weeks, whether it's somebody that we're able to work with, or whether it's somebody we meet in the store, serve them. Show them love. May we remember the joy of table fellowship. And I invite you to participate in our love feast tonight at stmlive.org. And may we love. So as we love, they know we're his disciples. And as we love, we can point others and all that we meet to the love of Jesus Christ. So go out today, be his example, or stay in today. Be his example. Be his example. Be that image of love, of service, and of grace. So all the world can know the love and grace of our Savior Jesus the Christ. Hope you have a holy Thursday today. We'll see you tomorrow morning on Good Friday.